Let's talk about that Central Protection Act. I believe this thought was being floated in the parliament about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it didn't become a law. It didn't go through. Again, this is a very amateur perspective. I think laws, acts, they need to be created in response to the reality of our times.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear about violence towards lawyers as much as you hear about violence towards doctors. I think that the Kolkata case is just a wake-up call for the rest of the country. So can you brief us a little bit on the Central Protection Act? And then can you also talk about the reality of whether or not you feel it'll actually go through this time, and will doctors get that added level of security within hospitals all over our country?
Yeah. So the act is very simple. The act is demanding and requesting security for medical professionals. The act is saying that in case as a civilian, you attack a medical professional, you will be prosecuted by the law, by the local governing body. And the 25 states already have some form of a law for protection of doctors. But in truest sense, it's not being really enforced by the local governments, right? So a central act, blessed by the central government, by the parliament of this country, I think can go a long way in providing the security and the safety for these medical professionals, right? And I do believe that this time around, there has been more uproar than there has ever been.
Yeah.
Right? And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Yes, it was one poor victim and her family, but this has been a long time coming. A long time coming, right? Look at the mental state of medical professions in this country. If you look at the statistics of the number of attacks that happen, the amount of rapes that happen, 75% of doctors get attacked at least once in their professional life. Let that sink in. We all go to office. Imagine getting attacked, and not just verbally, physically as well, and going back to the same workplace again and again. But doctors have no choice. They factually have no choice. And that is why they do it, right? But this time around, and I'm hopeful that not just the Central Protection Act, my hope is that there should also be some laws around the amount of hours worked by medical professionals. And I spoke about it earlier as well. There is in pilots. Pilots have an entire norm amount of hours that they can work. I believe doctors should have the same as well. I think 36-hour shifts is inhuman. It affects productivity. It affects their mental state. They don't have proper infrastructure to live. That's number 2. Number 3 is stipend. Today, 70% of medical interns do not get paid. The medical colleges do not pay them, right? Resident salaries are getting delayed. These are individuals who have spent already 7-8 years in their professional life. They're 27, 28, 29 years old and are not getting paid on time. So I believe there's some kind of reform that's required for that as well. They are individuals who require salary as well to live their life, right? So if I had to request, I would say these are the 3 laws that require urgent intervention to provide our doctors and nurses some care.
Is there any last notes you want to add to this particular conversation today?
So I'd like to also add, Ranveer, I think there's a recommendation from my side that I think we can bring about the medical health services, right? I think like how we have IPS, like how we have IAS, I think this initiative can go a very long way in bringing back honor to this profession, right? This was there before independence, right? And I think today is an optimum time to bring about it. And there are a couple of reasons, right, why I think it could be interesting. One is it can show a really long career trajectory to these medical professionals, right? We are seeing this brain drain happening, right? If there is a sense of, I think, honor brought to this profession, right, I think it can go a very, very long way for this profession, right? Number 1. Second is, today, I think as a community, we are not focusing on community medicine. We are not focusing on primary care. We're only focusing on, let the emergency case come, let's deal with it. Today, if you have these individuals in towns, in smaller cities, tier 3, tier 4 cities, there can be a lot of education with regard to community medicine. And let's understand, violence happens is because the patient and their family are super emotional, they are irate, they're not getting enough doctor time. This can help solve that. And finally, in private hospitals, doctors are expected to not just be clinicians, but also managers when they start their own practice. Today, I feel in government medical colleges, unfortunately, doctors are not being the opportunity to be managers. They are being clinicians. Whereas if if we do this Indian medical services, I think there's an opportunity for them to learn managerial skills as well, which is super critical as they build their practice as well, right? So I think this could be a very powerful and important initiative that could be taken on as well to bring back glory to the medical profession, which today I feel, unfortunately, because of these negative nuances of the media, today we are not able to celebrate our doctors as much as we should.
If you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out these curated playlists that we've made especially for you related to the subject that was spoken about in this clip.